What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn, and we return with the band that loves to say fuck Wednesday 13.
Whoop, whoop. Raise the rent.
There you go.
Yes.
It's so awesome to have you here. The last time we spoke was the ending cycle for Condolences, but now you have the new record, Necrophaze, out. Do you just want to talk about how like the making of this record was, the recording, all that fun stuff?
Totally different every time we do a record. Like this record was like Condolences was recorded, and half of it was done in Portland, and then the half of it was done in Massachusetts. So it was a lot of traveling, and we kind of had to sleep on top of each other, so it was sort of a summer camp kind of thing. Whereas the new record was a little more free as far as like we recorded in LA. I got to go home every night. I got to kind of think about things instead of being in, which I kind of like being forced in a studio and doing things, but it's also cool to come home and be surrounded by all my stuff and write the lyrics and be, you know what I mean, just having my little man cave at home and being surrounded by stuff that makes me happy definitely brought out lyrical ideas and things like that. So it was just a different process altogether. It was fun, and we worked really hard on it. It took, we spent several months just working on it, and we got special guests added into it, and so overall it was just a fun record. Every time we do a record, I want to step it up and do different things and different artwork and different sounds and different people, the guests and things. So it's just always trying to outdo ourselves every time.
Yeah. Well, that actually led me into my next question. Do you think by being able to like go home and you still kind of like surround yourself in your own little element, that maybe helped enhance or maybe inspire some other sounds in the record as well?
Definitely for this one, because I was at home and I was surrounded by everything that I like. So it was just like creating the artwork. I literally just had to look around my room and go, all right, how can I make all this stuff be Wednesday 13? So I started creating, just my idea sketches because I didn't do the artwork. I just basically went, I got this idea. I see a house, I see my face, I see some trees, let's do this, and the guy would put it together. So it was just a cool creative process, whereas in the past, usually the record and the album covers the last thing I think about, whereas this one, everything just flowed. I wish they could all be like this. So.
And kind of going back to it, collaborating with artists such as Christina from Lacuna Coil, amongst other artists, did that maybe give you like some other new ideas? Like, did that teach you some new things on how you could apply yourself as a vocalist in your music?
Absolutely. I mean, every year I try to learn something new or feel like I've learned something new. And just, for doing this for so long and doing the kind of music that we do, it's to have someone like Christina come in on a song and have a female vocalist with a high vocal range that isn't part of our music normally is something different. It worked, and it was something we never tried before. So that always, always trying to, like I said, always trying to outdo ourselves, do something new, do something that you may hear a couple songs on the record that reminds you of something we did in the past, and then you're going to hear 3 new songs that are completely different than anything we've ever tried, and that's fun for us. And I think for any band that's been doing it as long as we have, you want to grow, you want to do different things. It's easy to write "I Walk with a Zombie" over and over and over again, but it's not easy to write songs like Zodiac and over again. Those are different, you know what I mean? So so it's made it a little more challenging for me and the show and everything. So yeah, every year I'm learning different people, having guests on things. It just, again, I love what we do, and it's such an open book. We don't have any rules we have to play by. It literally is whatever we want. I paint myself green every night. There's really no rules,
In order to get inspired to create art in general, does inspiration sometimes come out of nowhere, or do you kind of have to like put yourself, you kind of answered it with the making of this record, but do you like have to put yourself in a certain element or a certain situation in order for like the creative energy to flow?
It helps to have things like that, but I don't ever think that's something that like, for example, if you put me in this room for 2 hours and said, you got to come up with a stage show and props, I could do it.
Plenty of whiskey bottles to work with.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like could be a great prop master on any TV show. I can literally, I've always made things out of like junk, and that's how my first band started. We were just basically a trash band with guitars, and so yeah, like literally I see ideas and go, oh cool, what if I wore that exit sign on my head? You know, so I'm just always looking around seeing ideas. So it's just constantly, they're not always good ideas, but there's always ideas going. So
Now, as somebody who has seen Wednesday 13 numerous times, you know, I've always said, with your use of stage presence and everything like that, it's obviously a completely different experience than just simply listening to the album. For you, though, are you just as much, for lack of better words, like in character when you're writing the music as you are when you are performing, or is performing versus writing a completely separate energy?
I think when you record the stuff, I mean, I'm definitely in my character and I'm kind of channeling certain things. But it's a different vibe in the studio compared to when you're in front of an audience and you're feeding off the energy of people. It's kind of hard not to get into it, you know. In the studio, it's, I guess, a little more forced because it's not as natural. You're behind curtains and headphones and things like that. But yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I can capture it in the studio, but the stage is where it really, for me, comes to life, and I get to explore and take what we did on the record and hopefully improve on it. And you know, people walk away and go, "Man, that sounded as good as the record, or better."
And I'd imagine too, like the type of venue that you're playing also can maybe I guess change the experience as well, right? Like seeing you at House of Blues at Metal Allegiance in Anaheim, and Irving Plaza, and then seeing you here at the Knitting Factory, a more like intimate venue. Like,
yeah, we've all last year was a mix of shows like that. It was House of Blues, and then it would be Bob's Beach Barbecue, and we go, okay, we got to play here too. But we're like the circus coming to town. You just give us the space, we'll fix it up. It may not be as big as another show, but we try to make it feel that way. So even in a small venue, we can still make things work. So it's not I feel like after last year, we played every element of possibilities of the best show versus the worst circumstance. So yeah, I've gotten used to it. So for me, I always expect the worst and
hope for the best.
Yeah. So that's kind of how things worked out for me. So.
And I have 2 more questions for you, but as some, you know, because last year you toured with Cradle of Filth, then you did Static X, and then like, you know, you played with Metal Allegiance. You're here right now with the 69 Eyes. You've toured with a variety of different style of bands. Have you noticed maybe like a different type of audience depending on like the types of tours that you're on?
Yeah, I think every band has a little, like for example, this tour is definitely going to be a lot more of the goth, I guess, crowd, whereas Static X is a mix. You know, you got our fans there, but you've also got people that listen to Static X and Devil Driver, and those guys are your more metal guys. And so yeah, so it's cool. That's the whole reason that we went out with different bands, is to put us in front of that audience. And that has been one of the most fun things for me last year, was playing in front of Static X, which the audience was really, I mean, receptive to what we did, but it was so much fun because I don't think they had seen a band like us doing what we do, and so it was, to see us kind of shocking people with what we were doing was so much fun every night. I could find looking out there and see anyone's in like a tucked in black shirt and jeans, and I knew I could get them in my stare zone and scare them. So that was a lot of fun. Lots of jeans on that tour. If you're in jeans, I can get mean with you. So that's my slogan. Hey, better watch out.
Yep. Just wait till after the interview.
But you know what's going on. It's unsuspecting people that come in and they go, "What the fuck is that guy pulling worms out of his nose?" So it's that kind of effect. Yeah.
Well, I'll be watching the show from the back tonight. I'll be watching from the bar.
It's probably a good distance. Yeah.
And the final question I wanted to ask you is, you know, I think you have a really dedicated fan base, and going to a Wednesday 13 show, I'm being the journalist, and I'm asking, like, fans, you know, so when you see Wednesday 13, what does it do for you and all that? And, you know, I've had fans say, you know, your music has helped them through hard times, it inspired them to create. When you hear on how your art really resonates with people, does it change on how you look at yourself as an artist?
Yes, definitely. I mean, first off, I mean, when I first used to hear people coming up going, "Man, your music got me through the darkest time of my life," I'm like, first I was like, really? You know, and then I guess I was kind of shocked to hear that. I was flattered by it, but at the same time, I did the same thing for my band. Music was my saving thing as a kid. You know, my bands were my best friends, you know, and I know that our music, to a lot of fans, they wake up every day and it's part of their life, and you know, it's a cool thing, man. This is my dream, to do what I do and to know that I've got fans scattered around the world that know my music. It's awesome, and I've worked really hard for it, and we're such a, I guess, a unique thing what we do, because it's not what everyone else does. We have a unique fan base, and so yeah, it's special. It's cool. Like I say all the time, we don't have the biggest fan base in the world, but our fans make us feel that way with just their dedication and stuff. So it's a cool thing, man. And if you're usually a Wednesday 13 fan's not just there for the moment; they're there for the whole ride. And I've seen fans from 12 years old, been seeing us for 20 years, and now they're bringing their babies to the show. And so yeah, man, it's been a fun road, and it's, you know.
It's got to be so weird if somebody says, "Hey, I've been listening to you since I was 12. Can I buy you a drink?" Like,
yeah, there's a lady and it's a friend of us now, who's a fan who named her baby after me and Marilyn Manson. Her name's Winslin.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's a cool name. Yeah, so yeah, it's just the coolest thing. I mean, again, I started playing a band, singing songs about my favorite horror movies. I didn't think anybody would catch on to it. And I hope so, but I didn't know. I was just having fun trying to write funny, offensive songs and get a cheap thrill out of somebody. And then people were like, "We like your band. This is good." And I just kept it going, and here I am all these years later.
I think you encourage your fans in a way is to use darkness as your armor instead of your anchor. I think that's like,
yeah. I went through my phases of anger and being mean, and now it's just, you know,
now it's your calling card.
Yeah, it's hang back like Dracula, attack when you need to.
There you go.
Yeah.
So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. Just now that Necrophaze, you know, you're well into the record cycle for it, could we be expecting, we'll probably be seeing you on the road a lot more. Is there just
all year.
anything you'd like to promote that you are allowed to talk about? This will be uploaded by midnight, so.
Yes, I'm pregnant. I'll be having my first child.
I knew that was coming.
Today. Yes, my first born child out of me.
Wow.
Yeah, you heard it first. Yes, I'm kidding.
Got to get that shit.
We have a whole year of touring. We have the summer festivals. We're starting our full headline run. A lot of fans are asking when we're going to be doing our own headline stuff. That starts in August, and I'm taking the show up to the next level. It's going to be more like a horror movie that you would go see, but with the band playing.
Awesome.
So I'm trying to add that film element in. That's the next phase of what we're doing. So
The Metal Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Exactly.
Awesome.
But more violent.
Awesome.
Gross.
Awesome. Well, Wednesday, always great to see you.
Thank you, man.
Everybody, Wednesday, 13, Necrophaze. Be sure to pick that up. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.